We listen to our customers, and many of our customers have told us that sometimes they need to know the older version as well as the newer version of popular software programs. So, to help you stay both flexible and up to date, we've designed Quickstudy videos to be used with the latest versions as well as the earlier versions of your software programs. This could be a lifesaver in a tight situation. Where major differences exist between the versions, the keystroke sheet shows you both methods. Any suggestions you may have to improve our packages would be appreciated.
In this Windows video, we'll show how to run Windows from DOS. We'll show how to get around in the windows, including how to use the program item icons, the group icons. We'll demonstrate other Windows components, such as the control box, scroll bars. We'll show the resizing buttons, how to change the size of windows and move them around on the screen. We'll show how to use the mouse. We'll show how to access menus with the mouse and the keyboard, how to use dialog boxes, using the Program Manager screen, using programs in the main group, including File Manager and the DOS prompt, and using accessories group programs, including Write and Paintbrush. And finally, we'll show how to exit Windows and return to DOS. In this video, we'll show you a new way to communicate with your computer. Instead of typing in commands from the keyboard, we'll show you how to communicate with the computer using the Windows graphic interface. When you run Microsoft Windows on your computer, it brings up a graphic interface that allows you to manipulate all of your programs and documents by moving things around in different places on the screen. We'll show in this video how to use the windows and the icons and how to handle all of the normal computer processing that you do within this easy-to-use graphic environment. In Windows, programs and documents are represented by small graphic symbols called icons. Each icon is a unique symbol that helps to identify what that program does. For instance, the File Manager icon looks like a filing cabinet. We use this File Manager program to work with files on a disk. Moving down to the bottom of the screen, we'll see a different type of icon called a group icon. The group icons represent windows that have been closed. The main window that we had above, if it were closed, we would see it down here at the bottom along with these others. Each window contains a group of programs, as you see represented in these little symbols. And we can open each one of these to get access to those programs. Let's move back over to the left and we'll open the accessories group icon. We do this by clicking twice with the mouse button. We'll talk more about using the mouse and clicking on objects in a moment. Notice that the accessories group has opened up into its own window on the screen. This window contains more icons which represent programs that are part of the accessories group. This window is visible in front of the main window which was already there. And we can bring the other main window forward by clicking in it with the mouse. and then we can access these programs. Clicking in the other window again brings it forward. All of the icons at the bottom of the screen represent windows that are currently closed. If we were to open all of these, all of the windows would be on the screen in a layered format. We'll talk more about the windows now, showing some of the features of windows and some of the different parts. In the upper left-hand corner of every window, you'll have a control box. If we click in here, this will give us some commands that we can use to control the window in various ways. And we'll talk more about these in a moment. At the top of the window, we have the title bar, where the actual window title is located. Notice this is the same title that was below the little icon at the bottom of the screen. At the right-hand side of the window, we have a scroll bar. Using these arrows, we can move through the window. Notice that some of the things are off the bottom of the screen here. There are more icons visible if we scroll down so that we can see them. Let's click on this bottom arrow, and it moves the icons up, or you can think of it as moving the window down so that you can view the things that are further down in the window. Clicking the up arrow moves back up again. We can also move through this window by clicking in this area, or by clicking and holding this and moving it down. This is called the scroll bar. These are the scroll arrows. In the upper right-hand corner, we have the minimize and maximize buttons. The minimize button will make the window into the group icon that we see at the bottom. It will close the window, in other words, and place it in a little group icon at the bottom of the screen. The maximize window will open the window completely to fill the entire screen. Let's try this now. Now the window has expanded to fill the entire screen. Notice we can see all of the icons that are present within the accessories group. It says accessories here in the title bar for the program manager. To return back to the way the screen was before, we use the restore button. This restore button, when pressed, will restore the window to the size that it was previously. Click it, and the window is restored to its previous size. We can also resize a window using the borders and the corners of the window. Notice when we move the mouse pointer to this area, it turns into a little double arrow. We can use that by clicking and dragging with the mouse to resize the window, left and right, and top and bottom. And also we can use the corner to resize both at the same time. When you're actually moving it, it just shows an outline, but then when you release it, it becomes a smaller window. Likewise, you can use the title bar area to click and move the mouse around, and that moves the window around to wherever you want to place it on your screen. Next, we'll show exactly how we're doing things with the mouse and talk about some of the basic mouse techniques. The mouse is what allows you to manipulate objects on the screen. Mouse controls the position of the little mouse pointer, the little arrow that's moving around on the screen. Moving the mouse left and right moves the arrow left and right. Moving the mouse up and down, or away from you and toward you, moves the arrow up and down on the screen. We select objects or move objects using the mouse button. Nearly all of the mouse operations are done using the left mouse button, and occasionally you will find some things that use a right mouse button. Your computer might have 3 buttons. Some programs do use the center button. This mouse only has 2. The left mouse button is what we use to select an object. Position the arrow over the icon for the program, in this case. Click once with the left mouse button, and that icon has been selected. It's highlighted, which is another way of saying selected. We can point to any one of these icons, click once with the left mouse button, and that highlights it or selects it. Remember when we clicked in a window to bring the window forward? It's the same thing. We click once with the left mouse button. We're clicking and releasing. Click and release. It's a quick action. Click and release. Click. We can move items around on the screen by an operation called clicking and dragging. In this case, we want to move a window. We click on the title bar of the window. We click with the left mouse button and hold the mouse button down. We don't release it. Then we can move the mouse to move an outline of the window to the new location. Then we release the mouse button. Again, this is click and hold the mouse button, move the mouse, then release. This is called clicking and dragging, because you click it and you drag the object to the new location. You can also use the mouse to open or close objects by double clicking. This means clicking twice rapidly. We did this when we opened some of the group icons at the bottom of the screen. Point to the icon with the mouse, click twice rapidly, and it's not here anymore. It has opened up into a window on the screen. We can close the window the same way using the control box in the corner of the window. Double click there, clicking twice. Didn't quite hit it that time. We've got to keep the mouse pointer right in the center. Click twice rapidly, and it closed that window. Now it's back down to the little icon. With a little bit of practice, you can get to where you can use the mouse with confidence and open and close windows and icons without any problem. In the next section, we'll show how to access commands from the menus using either the mouse or the keyboard. The commands in Windows programs are found in menus, and we select the commands from the menus. Menus appear at the top of the program window with titles. This is the menu bar. You open the menus by clicking once with the mouse and releasing. This leaves the menu open, and you are free to choose one of the commands from within the menu by clicking and releasing on that command. We'll show more about this in a few moments. We can open any of the menus by clicking and releasing in turn. We can also close a menu by clicking somewhere outside the menu. The control box in the upper left-hand corner has its own menu also, which allows you to control the actual window in some way. Clicking here again will close it. We can also use a different method of selecting items from the windows using the mouse. We click and hold the mouse button down, which is called clicking and dragging. move the mouse button over the different commands, and each one becomes highlighted or selected in turn. We're still holding the mouse button down. Then when you release the mouse button over that command will be activated. Within menus, you'll notice that many of the commands have 3 dots after them, and some of them do not. The commands with 3 dots mean that more is to follow. The computer needs more information in order for it to carry out the command. So a special box will be opened called a dialog box, which will ask you to enter more information or make additional choices. And we'll show and talk about dialog boxes again in a few moments. You may also notice in menus, many of the commands have something else written to the right side. These are keyboard equivalents for the commands. You may perform the open command, for instance, by hitting enter on the keyboard. You may perform the move command and the copy command using the appropriate F key, and so forth. The commands that have no dots after them will take effect immediately, but they only take effect on the program or icon that has been selected within the window. Let's show what we mean by this. Let's close this window again, and we'll go down here to one of the icons within the main window. Each one of these icons represents a program that you can run from within Windows. Let's click once to select the control panel icon. It activates this main window. Now that this program has been selected, the commands in the menu that have no dots will act immediately upon that icon or that program. If we click Open right now, it opens the control panel. For those of you who prefer using the keyboard, Microsoft has made it possible to access menus, menu commands, nearly everything from the keyboard instead of using the mouse. To activate the menus from the keyboard, you press the Alt button. Of course, you can use the one that's on the other end of the space bar also. This highlights the File menu, first of all. Then you can move to the other menus by using the arrow keys, right and left, moving through the menus. If you keep going to the right, then it activates the control box in the upper left-hand corner, so you can pull down that menu. And one more time to the right will activate the control box in the group window that's currently active on the screen. Hitting the right button again, we go back to the File menu. Now we open the menu itself by using the up and down arrows. Either the up or down arrow will open the menu. Once the menu is open, then the up and down arrows will move us through the commands in the menu, one at a time, and we select a command by hitting Enter on the keyboard. To close the menu, you can hit the Alt button again. This will close the menu, and notice none of them are currently highlighted. Next, we'll show how to add more information to a command in a dialog box. When we choose items from a menu in Program Manager, notice some items have the 3 dots after them. Here's Move and Copy. The 3 dots mean that more information is needed, and something will follow when we select this command. Let's choose Copy. The Copy Program item dialog box opens on the screen. The dialog box has a title bar, like a window. This is the title of this dialog box. And it has a text box where we can type in some text to choose an item. Here we're copying a program item, control panel. This is the one that was selected on the screen. And we're copying it from the program group main to the group accessories. So the dialog box is really a way to send more information to the computer about a command we want to perform. This box here, we can choose other things from the list. We have the command buttons on the right, which allow us to accept or cancel, or to get help with our choices in this box. We'll go back and we'll choose a different folder or different window to copy to. We'll choose the startup window. Now we're copying the control panel to the startup group. We click OK to accept this, to copy the control panel to the startup group. We do this by just clicking OK. Now if we click cancel, we'll cancel this choice and we'll close the dialog box and ignore the choice we've made. Or we can use the help button, which will open up the help menu that we saw earlier to give us help with this particular command. We can choose help from within almost any dialog box that you encounter in Windows. Now we want to go back and show a more complicated dialog box. Let's cancel the changes we've made here and go back to the File menu. This time we'll choose another command that has the 3 dots after it. We'll choose Run. The Run dialog box opens and it allows us to type in a command line to run some kind of program, a DOS or a Windows program. We just type in the information here. Notice that unless we have typed something in, the OK box can't be pushed. It's gray until we actually type something in. Now we can use this Browse button to bring up a list of other, this Browse dialog box brings up a list of other programs that we can run. Now we can move a dialog box around on the screen by clicking on the title bar and dragging with the mouse. We can drag it to any location so that we can look at something behind it a little better or whatever. We can move it back. And some of the different parts of the dialog box that we should explain. Here's the file name box here. This right now shows the type of file that's going to be viewed in the window below. We can select this by clicking and dragging with the mouse, and we could type in some file name, specific file name we're looking for. Right now it's just looking for these certain extensions, programs that actually have these extensions on the end. The EXE extension, these are executable programs that are shown in this window below. We can scroll through this list of programs using the scroll bars and the scroll arrows at the top and at the bottom to display the one we're looking for, the one we're trying to find, within the Windows directory on the C drive. And we can scroll with the arrows to see other programs that are contained in this directory. Each time we click with the mouse on the arrow, it scrolls down or back up again. We can also click in this area here to scroll one whole box full at a time. And it will show us the next box by clicking. It shows us the next box full of names. Or we can click and hold on this button and drag the mouse to move it rapidly up and down to quickly go to another part of the list. Now below the file name box we have the files type box, which this has a list of the files that are being shown. Currently programs is what's selected, or we could select all files and it would show us all files in the directory, instead of just the executable programs. We click here to select all files. Now it shows us every file that's in the directory. And we go back to programs to show just the program files contained in the Windows directory. And then we have the other directories that we could choose to look at files contained there. Notice a little open folder. That means that's the directory that's currently open. Clicking on this arrow opens the drop-down list that gives you choices of other drives. For now, we'll just leave it on the C drive. Moving back over to the left, we can choose now a file that we want to actually run. Let's choose Calendar. We click on it once to select it. Notice the name appears in the file name box above. And then we just click OK. And what this has done, we've actually chosen the file we want to run, and it has entered that information into this command line here in the Run dialog box. Now that this has been entered, we click OK here, and it will actually run this program called Calendar. Click OK once, and the Calendar program runs immediately. Now we can use this program. We could run any type of program or file that was listed in that box. Next, we'll show how to use the Program Manager to handle all of the windows and icons on your desktop. Program Manager is really the program that allows Windows to do its operations, to handle all of the different objects which represent files in the windows. You may remember that at the bottom of the screen we had a group of icons. We can rearrange these icons on the screen using a feature in the Window menu. Placing the mouse pointer over Arrange Icons, and if we click this, we will be able to arrange the icons at the bottom of the screen in a neat arrangement. And the icons are nice and neatly lined up at the bottom of the screen. Remember that these icons represent windows, also known as group windows, that have other applications or programs inside of them. We can open any one of these icons and into the full window by clicking on it twice rapidly with the mouse. The window opens on the screen. You may notice that when we click, if we click just once on the group icon, it brings up a little menu that gives us some choices about sizing the window. Within this menu, we can choose the Restore command, which is the same as double-clicking on this group icon. It opens the group icon into the window to the size the window was when it was last open. Let's click on Restore. Now the applications window has opened back up to the size that it had been at a previous time. And we can move it out of the way by clicking and dragging on the title bar. Then we can see the rest of the icons at the bottom. Each one of these group icons can be opened up individually so that we can see the programs that are contained in them. And we can manipulate the programs or the windows around the screen as needed. The window menu can help us to arrange these windows on the screen to make them a little bit easier to access. Clicking on the window menu, we can see in here there's a list of all of the windows that we currently have within the Program Manager. We have opened all of these windows on the screen. The check mark indicates which one is currently active or in front on the screen. Let's close this menu again, and we'll see that this startup window, which currently has nothing in it, is actually in front of the other windows on the screen. We can change this by clicking on one of these other windows. If we click on Mouse, it brings the Mouse window to the front. We open the menu again, we'll see that the Mouse window has the check mark by it. We can also arrange the windows on the screen in an easier to use format by using Cascade or Tile. Cascade will arrange the windows one in front of the other so that all of the title bars are visible. Tile will arrange them like tiles on a bathroom wall. Let's try this choice. We click on Tile. Now all of the windows have been sized and arranged like tiles so that we can see each one of them. Some of the windows may have more icons than will actually fit, they have a scroll bar where we can scroll through and see all the rest of the program icons in the window. This is another example here. We can move items from one window to another by clicking and dragging. We can actually move this to one of the other windows. Let's move it here. Now it has been taken from here and placed in the startup window. And we can move it back. This allows us to arrange our programs into an understandable way, just like putting things into a filing cabinet within different file folders. We can also use the minimize and maximize buttons to change the size of the window. Hitting maximize, for instance, increases the application's window to full screen size. Notice that the Program Manager title bar now has this applications in parentheses. Moving back over to the right, we can use the Restore button to restore it to the previous size. We click on this Restore button once, and now it goes back into the tiled arrangement like we had before, and the Applications window is restored to its previous size. The Minimize button would, of course, take it back to its group icon format at the bottom of the Program Manager screen. In the next part of our video, we'll show how to run some of the programs that are found in Windows. First, we'll look at the programs in the main window. To begin with, let's maximize the main window to fill the entire screen so that we can see all of the icons at the same time. The first program we'll look at in the main window is Control Panel. We open this by double-clicking. The Control Panel window then opens on the screen, and we can change the settings of different things in the computer using the different icons in the Control Panel window. Notice that color is selected. At the bottom, it tells what this does. It changes the Windows screen colors. If we double-click here, it opens up a little window that gives us the opportunity to choose from other color schemes for the windows. Clicking in here closes the box. Let's see what the Fonts icon does. That opens a Fonts dialog box that allows us to see all the different fonts in Windows, and we can also add more if we want to. We'll click Cancel to close it. Ports allows us to change the COM ports, change some of the settings. Mouse gives us the ability to change the settings of the mouse speed, and so forth. Desktop allows us to change some of the other things in the desktop, the pattern, the background patterns, and the size of the borders, and so forth, the spacing of the icons. Keyboard allows us to change the keyboard speed and repeat rate. Printers, we can select from the current printers that we have attached, or we can add more. International is interesting. It allows us to change the screen to other languages, change the settings for other countries, and so forth. Date and time allows us to set the date and the time in the computer. This 386 Enhanced window allows us to change some of the settings for the particular microprocessor we're using, also to set up virtual memory. Then finally we have the drivers and sound icons. Drivers allows us to use or add MIDI drivers, sound drivers, and so forth. And sound assigns some of the system events different sounds. You have to have a sound card, however, for these to be available. Notice they're dimmed right now. We can't use them if we don't have a sound card installed. Cancel this. Now when we're done setting things with the control panel, we go back up to the upper left-hand corner in the control box and double-click to close it. Another valuable program or application to be found in the main window is Print Manager. Let's double-click on Print Manager to open it. Print Manager allows us to keep track of printing that we have going on whatever printers are connected to our computer. We can monitor the status of the printing. We can pause the printing and resume it and check on other printers that may be connected. Possibly we're on a network where we can't see the printer. This will help us to keep track of the printing that's going on. Let's close this again. Now moving across, we'll show some of the other important applications contained in the main menu, the main window. Another very useful one is File Manager. Let's double-click to open this one. Now that we have the File Manager window open on the screen, let's take a minute and see exactly where we are in Windows. The Program Manager, which is a program, is running. The main window within Program Manager has been maximized so that it fills the entire screen. Within the main window, we have these other icons that represent programs that can be run within Windows. Currently, we double-clicked on File Manager to run it. It is now running, and this window represents File Manager program. So currently, we have two programs running in Windows. We have the Program Manager and the File Manager. The Program Manager is always running when we're in Windows. And in addition, we may run other programs within Windows as needed. Now let's look at File Manager. Within the File Manager window, we have a directory window that shows us some of the files on our disk. And we'll take a closer look at this in a second. Notice that there is a menu bar. Every program has its own menu bar. The Program Manager has a menu bar. The File Manager likewise has a menu bar. It has its own control box. File Manager has, the Program Manager control box is in the upper left-hand corner. Let's maximize this File Manager window so we can get a better idea of what exactly is inside of it. We maximize using this button here. Click on it. And File Manager now expands to fill the entire screen. The Program Manager is still running. We can think of it as being behind the File Manager. We'll take a closer look so that we can read some of these things. But for now, we want to see that within the File Manager, we have a directory window. And the Restore button for that is here in the upper right-hand corner. If we click that, the directory window itself returns to this smaller size. The File Manager program is still maximized to fill the entire screen. This would allow us to have other windows besides this directory window. We could open up new directory windows and have a different window for each directory, for each disk drive, possibly. It would allow us to get a better idea, maybe how the files compare in two different directories and so forth. Maybe even to copy files from one directory to another. For now, we'll just work with this one directory window. We'll expand it back. We'll maximize it back to fill the entire File Manager. And we'll take a look at some of the items that we can find within the directory window. Moving into the upper left-hand corner, within the File Manager directory window, we can see a representation of the three disk drives that we currently have available on this computer. You may have other disk drives on yours. You may have a network drive or whatever listed to the side. The C drive is a hard disk drive in our computer. It's currently selected. It's on the tree list here. It represents this drive and the root directory as a folder. And these are the other directories or folders within the root directory. We could also call these subdirectories. Windows uses the folder icon to represent a directory. Currently, we are looking at the files inside the Windows directory or folder. Notice it shows that it's open. This is a graphic indication that the Windows directory is the one we're looking at. Moving to the right, we see a list of all of the files within the Windows directory. Notice there are 2 more directories inside of Windows. We could open these as well. Moving on over, we can see there are several items listed here indicating information about the files. These are individual documents, bitmap documents, and so forth. This indicates the size of the document and the date when it was created and the time. We want to restore our window to the smaller size so we can get a little better shot of it on the screen. We're going to use the Restore button, not for the directory window itself, but for the entire file manager to reduce it back to the size it was originally. Click on this button. Now we've gone back to the Program Manager with the File Manager window smaller inside of it. Now that we've restored File Manager back to its original size, let's move in for a closer look at some of the features in this program. Of course, one of the good features about any Windows program is the ability to find the commands within menus. This makes them a lot easier to remember and a lot easier to use. We'll take a closer look at some of these commands. In the File menu, we can perform any of these commands or operations on a file that we may select in the File Directory window. We can open or move, copy, delete, rename, and so on. All of these, many of these commands can also be done using just the mouse. Windows programs allow us to handle files and programs and other things as graphic objects on the screen. So for instance, if we want to copy one of these files from this directory, which is the Windows directory, this one that's open, if we wanted to copy it to one of these other directories or folders, all we need to do is click and drag. We click on the file that we want to move. It's selected. Now we're holding down the left mouse button and dragging the mouse across. And as we move this up and down, it selects one of the other directories wherever the mouse is positioned. We can put it into the root directory or into one of these other directories. Let's copy it into the DOS directory in this case. Now to copy it, of course we're still holding down the mouse button while we're moving this little miniature document around. When we release the mouse button, then the copy will be performed. First, it asks us a question. Are we sure we want to move this selected file? And we have a chance to answer yes or no. In this case, we'll answer yes by clicking this once with the mouse. Then the move has been made. Notice the directory is no longer, the file, that is no longer here. We've moved it. And if we click on the DOS folder, then the DOS folder will open. And we can go over here and search through here to find that file to see that it actually has been copied. We use the scroll bars to scroll down through the list, and there is the arcade bitmap file that we copied. DOS folder is open, and this shows us in a graphic way which files we're looking at on the side in this directory. We can change to other disk drives. If we had disks in other drives, we just would merely have to click on the drive to select it. Let's try clicking on the A drive. In a few seconds, it checks the A drive for a disk and gives us a list of the files on that disk. We only have the one directory, the root directory, on this particular disk. Notice that the little folder is open. And here we have a list of the files that are on that disk. You can probably see that this would be an easy way to copy files from one disk to another. That's probably one of the most useful things about File Manager. Let's go back to the hard disk, drive C. We'll go back and find the document that we previously copied, or we actually moved it. And this time, instead of moving it, which we did before, we'll just make a copy of it on the other drive. Clicking and dragging a document to another drive will not move the document. It will actually just make a copy of it. So let's click on the same file and drag to the A drive and release the mouse button. Are you sure you want to copy the selected files or directories to A? Yes. It shows us briefly what's happening, and then the copy has been made. Now, if we select the A drive, we can go back and scroll down to find the document that we copied. And there it is. Again, remember on these scroll bars, you can grab the little indicator in the middle and move it up and down to scroll rapidly through it. Notice that you can also scroll left and right. This will show you the other information, the file size, the date it was created, and so forth. We can look at this file directory in many different ways. Going to the View menu, click, and we have many different choices as far as sorting, the details that are shown for each file, and other ways of showing the windows, the list boxes in the window. For now, let's choose a different method of sorting. We'll sort by name instead of by type. Click on this, and it resorts the files alphabetically. The numbers first, and then the alphabet letters after that. Moving back over to the left, in the File menu, let's look at a couple other features in this menu. We'll show how to delete and how to rename a file. To delete a file, first we select the file. Let's search through here for a file to delete. Let's delete this chart file. We click on it. This selects it. Notice at the bottom it tells you how large the file is also. Going back to the File menu, we select Delete. Notice that you can also use the Delete key on the keyboard to do the same thing once you have selected it with the mouse. Select Delete. It brings up a dialog box asking you, or actually showing you which one it intends to delete, and giving you the chance to check, to click OK, to cancel, or to ask for help. Let's click OK. And again, it wants us to confirm that this is definitely something we want to delete, just to prevent any accidental, any mistakes. So we're sure about this. Let's click Yes. And the file has been deleted from the disk. We can rename a file. Let's choose this one. Go back to the File menu and choose Rename. Now it gives us another dialog box where it shows the old name, and we can type in the new name. Moving over to the OK button, we click OK. And it's been renamed. Notice it's not in the list where it used to be. We move down alphabetically to find it, and there it is. When we're finished with File Manager, we have a couple of choices. We can close File Manager by opening the Control Box menu and selecting Close. Or we can just leave File Manager running. Go back to the Program Manager and run something else, because Windows allows us to have more than one program running at a time. Let's switch back to the Program Manager. When you have more than one program open, as we do here, Program Manager is one and File Manager is the other, you can switch between the program windows by just clicking in the appropriate window. Now when we click in this Program Manager window, it will come to the front and the File Manager window will be hidden behind it. That's okay for now because we don't really need to use the File Manager, but later we'll show how to get back to it. Let's click in Program Manager. File Manager disappears. It's actually moved behind. We can show this if we go to the lower right-hand corner. We get the tiny arrow, the double arrow, actually. Let's show this in a close-up shot. Now, if we click and drag, we can resize this window, make it a little smaller, make it quite a bit smaller. Now, moving back, we can see that, yes, the File Manager window is still open behind. And we can reveal the File Manager window by clicking in the window. Here's the File Manager. Here's the Program Manager. We also have another window running behind here. We have a DOS shell running within an MS-DOS prompt. This brings up the next feature. We can run MS-DOS programs from within Windows using the MS-DOS prompt. We'll show how to do this next. Going back to the main group window within the Program Manager window, next we want to move to the MS-DOS prompt. This is a program that runs within Windows that allows you to go back and access DOS programs. We select this by double-clicking to open it. Clicking twice with the mouse opens the MS-DOS prompt window. Now on the screen we have the familiar DOS prompt indicating that we're in the Windows directory. At the top we have a little box that gives us some information about returning to Windows. We may type exit and press enter to quit this MS-DOS prompt and return to Windows. We can use Alt-Tab to switch between this application or another application. And we can use Alt-Enter to switch this MS-DOS prompt between a window and a full screen. Right now it's in a full screen. Now that we have the MS-DOS prompt, we can run any DOS program. Let's run the DOS shell. We type in the name and hit enter on the keyboard. This brings up the DOS shell program. Of course, we could run any other DOS program as well. Remember the box that we had at the top of the screen when we saw the DOS prompt told us that we could switch back and forth between the full DOS screen and DOS in a window by using the Alt and Enter keys on the keyboard. So we hold down Alt and press Enter. This switches us back to the DOS prompt running in a window on the screen along with the other windows. We have Program Manager open, and we also have File Manager open behind. We can use Alt and Enter again to switch back to the full DOS screen. And this will work again with any DOS program. On the Windows screen, we may move this DOS prompt window anywhere. We treat it just like any other window in the Windows program. We may maximize it to fill the entire screen by pressing the button in the upper right-hand corner. And moving across, we can use the other buttons just the same. Pressing Restore restores it to its smaller size on the screen. Let's use the Alt and Enter keys again to switch back to the full screen DOS shell. Now let's exit the DOS shell program and return to Windows. We exit the program as we would normally do it. And we return to the DOS prompt. Then, to leave the DOS prompt and return to Windows, we type Exit and Enter. Next, we'll show some of the other items in the main window. The clipboard viewer allows you to view the things on the clipboard. Double-click to open this, and it opens a little window that will display the items on the clipboard. We'll talk more about the clipboard in a few moments. Windows Setup allows you to change some of the settings for Windows, System Settings, Applications, Windows Components. Double-click to close it. The PIF Editor allows you to create program information files for DOS programs to work with Windows. You can read more about this in the manual. And finally, the README file comes with Windows. When you receive it, it contains updated information that did not make it into the Windows manual. You double-click to open it, and it actually opens Windows' own word processor called Write, and in that word processor, then you can read the document, you can scroll through it, and then close it when you're finished. Let's just close by double-clicking in the upper left-hand corner, and we're back to the main window. Next, we'll show how to use some of the programs in the Accessories window. Let's click on the Accessories group icon and click on Restore to open the group window for the Accessories group. We'll look at some of the programs in the Accessories group and how to use them. There's some very useful programs: a word processor, a paint program, a terminal program that allows you to use a modem, and some other interesting programs in this window. First, let's look at the Write program, which is a simple word processor. We open this program by double-clicking with the mouse. The Write program opens into its own window on the screen. Let's maximize this window using the Maximize button in the upper right-hand corner. Now the Write window fills the entire screen. Write is a fairly sophisticated word processor, not as sophisticated as Microsoft Word or WordPerfect, but it can do quite a few things. And if you're familiar with word processors in general, you'll probably be familiar with many of the operations in Write. The menus at the top contain different commands that we can use in the program to work with the documents. There's even a help menu to access the help files. Moving back over to the left, let's open a document. We click on Open, and we get a dialog box that lists some of the documents that have been previously saved. The WRI extension indicates that they were created with this program, this Write program. Let's click Network and open this file. We can do this either by clicking and clicking OK to the right, or we could just double click. Let's just click OK to open this file. This is a file that tells about using networks, using Windows on a network. We'll use it for an example document. We can select text in the document to change by clicking the insertion point to any place in the document. We can select a word by dragging across the word. This is clicking and dragging with the mouse to select a word. Then we can remove the word using backspace, or we can change it. We can type something else in. We can click the insertion point and type some new word in. And it's inserted at that point in the document. Using backspace, we can take it back out again. We can use some of the other commands in the menus. We can save the document back to the disk. We can choose Save As to give it a different name, or save it to a different disk. And we can choose Print and also Exit from this menu. We can use the features in the Find menu to find a particular word in a document, or to replace a word. We can search for a word and replace it with another word. We can also change the font and the style of characters. We select a word in the document and choose bold, and it changes it to bold on the screen. If we deselect it, we can see the change better. A quick way to select an entire word is to double-click in the word. Let's double-click here to select it again. We'll go back and we can turn bold off, and it goes back to the way it was. We can use italic in the same way. Or we can have more than one style change. You can select bold also. Now it's bold and italic, and so forth. We can change the size by clicking on Reduce or Enlarge. Click Enlarge, and it enlarges this word that we've selected. Or Reduce, and it just reduces it in steps. And we can also choose other fonts by clicking on Fonts, and a font dialog box opens with a little scroll bar here and a list that we can scroll through to select other fonts. We can also choose the font style from this box. And a sample box here will show us what that particular style looks like. Or, in the case of a font, it will show us what the font looks like. And we can click OK to accept the change, or cancel to disregard it. Now moving back up to the menus, we'll go to the paragraph menu. See that we can choose the normal, or we can choose left, centered, right, or justified for the margins. And we can choose the different kinds of spacing, single, 1.5, and double spacing. And you can change the indentation. In the document menu, we can add a header and a footer. We can turn on the ruler. Let's show this. Let's click on ruler, and a little ruler appears at the top. The ruler allows you to automatically change some of the things that we saw in the document menu. We changed the line spacing. Here it's single spaced. If we click on space and a half, 1.5 spacing, you see the change in the document, or we can double space it. You can see how it changes. This is a Windows type word processor, so the changes appear on the screen as they would in the document. One of the advantages of having Windows type word processors, you can see the changes as you make them in the document. for many people, this Windows, this Write word processor that comes with Windows may be the only word processor you need. We can also change the alignment of the text. We got the left align, the center, the right align. See how it's flush on the right here now, or the full justified, which makes it flush on both sides, as in a newspaper column. Let's go back to the left justified. Finally, we will show how to set tabs on the ruler. 2 tabs have been set right here. That's what these little arrows indicate. And you can set more tabs by clicking on the ruler. Notice this tab box is highlighted. So this kind of tab, which is a left aligned tab, will be placed on the ruler. There's also a decimal tab, which if you have a column of figures with decimals, it will align the decimals up. And when you turn this on, then when you click on the ruler, it will put that kind of tab. And then of course, you just hit you put the cursor at the beginning of the document, or at the beginning of a line, and you use your tab key on the keyboard to make the text move to these individual tabs, like so. Now that we're finished showing this, we can go back to the File menu and to open a new document. We could use Open to open one that's already on the disk, or we could choose New to open a brand new document to start over again. Let's click on New. And first we get a dialog box that says this document has changed. It's trying to close the previous document before it opens a new one. Do we want to save the current changes? We have the choice. In this case, we'll choose No. And then the screen is blanked, ready for us to type in a new document. This little mark called the end mark follows the insertion point and indicates the end of the document. When we type, it's moved back. So it always stays at the end of the document. Now we'll show one or two other features by opening another document. Let's go back up to the File menu and click on Open. We get this warning, this document has changed, save the current changes. In this case, we'll click No. Of course, you could click Yes or Cancel if you wanted to continue working on this document. We'll select No with the mouse. Now we get the Open dialog box, where we can go back and choose the document that we had opened before. Let's double click on it. It brings it back to the screen. Let's just show one or two more things about Write. We can change the indentation using this little marker in the ruler. By clicking and dragging, we're dragging this little dot that indicates the indentation of the first line. Or we can click and drag to move it back. Place the cursor here, and the indentation takes place there. Notice the other lines are still out at the margin. We can change the margin by dragging the margin marker also. That changes the margin for the entire paragraph. Click and drag with the mouse to move it back out. There's also a margin marker at the other end on the right side of the screen. And we can move it as well. Now let's move back to the left, and now we'll show how to use the cut, copy, and paste commands. These are very convenient for moving things or copying things in a document. To use the cut, copy, or paste, we first have to select some text. Let's select this line. There's also a quick way of selecting an entire line. That is to move the cursor out to the left, and it becomes an arrow. And when you click once, it selects the entire line. This will work for any line. You can also click and drag to select an entire paragraph or even an entire document. Let's select this line again. And going to the Edit menu, we'll choose Cut. This cuts or removes this line from the document and places it in a special area of memory called the clipboard. Once it's on the clipboard, we can move it, we can paste it into other locations in the document. Let's click the cursor up here and choose Paste from the Edit menu. Now it has been placed in the document here. It's important to know that this information is still on the clipboard, however, and we can go to other places in the document and paste it again. Let's choose Paste, and it pastes it here also. We could do this indefinitely. And the information remains on the clipboard until we replace it with something else, until something else is cut or copied to the clipboard. Let's remove this. We can remove things quickly by highlighting and then just using our backspace key from the keyboard. We can also use copy and paste. Let's select this again and choose copy. It has copied this to the clipboard. Now, of course, it was already on the clipboard. We've just copied another copy of it back to the clipboard again, just for illustration. We can choose copy, but notice that it didn't disappear from the document as it did with cut. When we cut the line from down here, it disappeared, and it was only on the clipboard. This time we selected it, and we copied, and now a copy of it is on the clipboard, but it still remains in the document. Now we can move down here, and we can use paste to paste it in. So copy and paste is really duplicating something and putting a copy of it somewhere else in the document. Cut and paste is really moving an item to another location. Anytime we want to recover from some kind of mistake that we might have made, we can also use another feature called Undo that's found in the Edit menu. Click Undo Editing, and the last operation that we made will be undone. Now that we're finished with write, we could go back and we can exit the program, but we're going to leave it open and run another program to show you how to handle more than one program running at a time. Let's close this menu, and moving over to the right, we'll use the Restore button to restore the window, the right window, to its smaller size. Now we see the right window within the Program Manager window, and there are other windows open. This Accessories Group window is open behind here. The rest of the group windows are at the bottom. They're minimized to their small group icons. To show you another feature, we need to also restore the Program Manager window to its smaller size. Let's go back up and click on the Restore button in the Program Manager window. And now, the Program Manager has been restored to this smaller size. It has an Accessories window inside it, and we can use the scroll bars to move around and see other things that are inside the Program Manager window. But the right window is no longer in front of the Program Manager window. It actually exists as a separate window. And when we saw it before in front, it looked like it was actually inside the Program Manager, but it really isn't because it's a separate program. Program Manager is an actual program that you run within Windows. Write is another program that's actually running. So right now we have two programs running in Windows. The other feature we wanted to show was minimizing a program window to see what the application icon looks like at the bottom of the screen. If we use the minimize button, click here, it goes down to an application icon at the bottom. We can do the same thing with the Program Manager window. We can minimize it, and it becomes an icon at the bottom. And we have a little character here, a little figure that represents a background. You can put different kinds of backgrounds here that are called wallpaper in the background. The Program Manager and the Write program are both still running, and that's what these special application icons mean. And when you click on one, It gives you the chance to maximize it or restore it to the previous size. We also have an item in here called Switch To. If we click on this, it brings up a list of the programs that are actually running at this current time. And you can switch between one or the other. And there may be a list of many programs running. You can have a lot of programs running depending on how much memory you have, how much RAM you have in your computer. And use the Switch To button to switch to the other program. Now it has restored that right program window. We can also restore the Program Manager window to the size it was before. And then moving back out where we can see both of these windows again, we can just switch between the two by clicking in the appropriate window. Or we can move it around by dragging with the title bar, just as we did other windows. Now let's run another program and show how to switch between all three. We're going to run another program found in the Accessories group, a program called Paintbrush. This program is a painting program that allows us to draw pictures and to draw or paint pictures in different ways. Let's double-click the Paintbrush icon to open this program. Now Paintbrush has opened into its own window on the screen. So now we have actually three programs running. We have Program Manager, we have Write, and if we can find an edge of the other one, we can click in that and it brings it to the front. Of course, we can also use the Switch To window that we just saw to switch between the three different programs. Or we can just cancel this and we can switch between them. As long as we can see each one, we can switch between them that way. Let's go in and take a closer look now at the Paintbrush program. We'll move this over a little bit. We'll use the Maximize button now to maximize this window to fill the entire screen. Remember that the other two windows will still be behind it. And when we restore the Paintbrush window to this size, we'll be able to see them again. And I'll show you in a minute how to bring the other windows forward even when the Paintbrush window is maximized. Let's click this Maximize button and it fills the entire screen. Now we'll just show a few of the features of the Paintbrush program. On the left, we have the toolbox. These are different tools that we use to draw with. Of course, on the top, we have the normal menus, similar to other programs. Then at the bottom, we have the line box, the line size box, that we can choose different thicknesses of lines in our drawings. And then we also have the color palette. This allows us to choose different colors to use in our painting. Moving back up to the top of the toolbox, first we'll show the line drawing tools. This is the straight line tool and the curved line tool. We click on the tool to activate it. And moving out onto the screen, we have this crosshair that we use to set the points. We draw a line by clicking once with the mouse and dragging. We can position the line wherever we want. We're still holding the mouse button down in this case. And then release the mouse button and it draws a line there. And the thickness of this line is determined by that line size box that we saw at the bottom. Click and hold and release. Click and hold and release, and so forth. The curve tool draws lines that can be bent with different curves. We can have one or two curves in the line. We click, hold, and release, then click again and move and drag to set a curve in this line. You can go any direction. Get the right kind of curve that we want, and then release. And you can actually put two curves in a line. You can click somewhere else on the line to draw and make a curve the other direction. And then when you release, then you get the final line. Now there are some painting tools. There's a paintbrush, that paints in whatever the color is that's selected at the bottom of the screen. Right now, black is selected, and we click on a color to select it. There's gray, white and black, and then other shades. Let's choose this red to show the paintbrush. The paintbrush, you can change the size of the paintbrush. That right now it's a very small dot, and you can draw lines or you can paint in an area with that small dot. And you can also fill an entire area with paint by using the roller. You click on the roller, and then you click the very tip inside of an area, and it fills that area with the paint. And again, it uses whatever color is currently selected at the bottom. It has to be an enclosed area. If we click out here, it will, of course, run out and fill the entire screen. And it has to be an enclosed area for it to be limited to that area. We can use the eraser. This eraser here erases anything just by clicking and dragging with the mouse. All these actions use the mouse for drawing. Clicking and dragging, holding down with the mouse, and it erases anything it touches. We can use the color eraser. It will only erase the color that's currently selected at the bottom of the screen. So we've got red selected right now, and we click, it will erase red. Notice how it doesn't erase the black lines, because they're a different color. Just erases the red, even though we're going across the black lines. Same over here. So you can erase one entire color without having to worry about touching the other ones. We have a text tool, ABC. You can click a cursor anywhere in the document and type from the keyboard. Notice we're typing in red right now because that's the color that's selected. It affects the text also. You may change the font of this. Well, as long as you haven't clicked the mouse somewhere else, you can use the text and change it to bold or italics. You can use underline or shadow. You can also go to a font menu to choose other fonts. You can choose these before you begin typing also. There's other thing we can do to show a special feature of Windows programs. We can use cut, copy, and paste. Remember that in Write, we copied a line from the document to the clipboard. The clipboard survives between different programs running in Windows. So you can cut or copy something from one program and paste it into another. Let's first make sure our cursor is placed where we want it. And let's move it over a little bit more. Let's choose Paste from this menu. And now we've pasted in that line that we got from our other document. It's pasted in the current color and the current font style, which is italic, and whatever font that we currently have selected. And we can also use copy and cut, copy, and paste within this program. We can select something here and copy it to the clipboard. Now, once a text item has been copied into a paint program, it no longer is as text. We can't edit it and change it. It's become a picture. It's just a picture of these shapes, which we know as letters, but it's actually just a picture. We can't use the text editing features. In order to actually cut this, we have to use the scissor tools here at the top. The one on the right is called the pick tool. When we click it, we get a crosshair that allows us to draw a line around an object, and this could be any object. Then when we release, this object has been selected, so to speak, within the paintbrush program. And then we can use cut, copy, and paste. We can use cut to put it on the clipboard. Now it's on the clipboard not as a line of text, but as a picture. And it'll look the same when we paste it back in. We'll place our text cursor here, and then go back and paste, and it's pasted in. I guess it doesn't actually paste where the cursor is. It pastes in the upper left-hand corner of the document. Now, notice it's still selected, and it's still selected by this pick tool. It's still got this border around it. When we move and the pointer turns to an arrow, we can click and hold and drag this to anywhere in the document. We can move it around, put it wherever we want it, and then release it. But when we release it and then click outside of it, it becomes a part of the document. If we had placed it over top of these lines here, then when we released it, it would become a part of that, and we would no longer be able to select just the line of words. If we drew the thing around it, we would actually select part of the document. I'll show you what we mean by this. We click this down and put it here. Well, now when we click here, and we try to do that again, it's going to bring the lines, whatever falls inside this little border will be cut out. So we click and hold and drag. See how it brings anything within the line is brought out. And you can try to replace it if you're very careful. Now we can also use this scissors tool here, which will allow us to cut out some other shape. Instead of being limited to a rectangular shape, we could use the scissors tool to draw a line around something. Just go around this, and then wherever you release it, it draws a straight line back to the beginning of where you started. So we can, and it has surrounded this entire shape. Now when we click and drag, it'll move that entire object anywhere on the screen. And release it. And click outside of it to deselect it. We also have a few other tools. We have the airbrush, or you might call it a spray paint can. To use this, we position this, and it paints an area like a spray can. And the more you go over an area, the more it fills it in, just as you would with an airbrush or a spray paint can. If you're an artist, you probably can think of really good ways to use these tools. Now we'll go down and show some of the shapes here. We have filled shapes and hollow shapes. These are boxes here. The filled boxes will just draw a box. It gives you the crosshair, and you click and drag to draw the box. Then when you release, it fills the box with the current color that's selected in the palette. We have a rounded box, which is a box with just rounded corners, and it draws the same way. You could also, starting here, drag up, and it will draw it up this way. We're just still holding the mouse button down, then we release. Again, it's filled with the current color. We can draw an empty box using these empty box selectors here. And we can draw a box around something. And it's drawn with the border in the current color. We can do the same thing with ovals. We can draw an oval. This is an empty oval, and this is a filled oval. Now we'll show you how to bring those other windows back forward again. The other two programs that are running, remember, were Program Manager and the Write word processor. There's a quick way to bring these back by using the Alt and Tab keys on the keyboard. Hold down the Alt key and press Tab, and it brings up this little box that shows one of the other programs that's running. It even shows what document is currently open in the program. We can switch to the next one, and we're still holding the Alt key down. Switch to the next one by hitting Tab again. Now it shows us another program that's running, which is Program Manager. And one more time, hitting Tab brings us back to Paintbrush. If we release the Alt key here, it of course stays on the program that's current. Holding down Alt again, let's hit Tab. And now when we release Alt, it will bring the right window to the front. Hold it one more time, Tab to Program Manager, bring that to the front. Now that we're back in Program Manager, we can do other kinds of Windows operations, and the one that we finally want to do now is to exit Windows. We do this by opening the control box and clicking on Close. We get a little window that says this will end your Windows session. Click OK. It asks us if we want to save the changes to these documents that we have open. On this one, let's choose No. And also the Paintbrush document as well. Let's choose No. We could, of course, choose Yes and save them. Then Windows closes. And now we're back to the DOS prompt at the top of the screen.
The video you just watched contains intermediate features. But you and your coworkers can gain powerful computer skills from our advanced video package. For only $149.50, you'll get advanced videos on Windows, Microsoft Word for Windows, Excel, WordPerfect, Lotus, and DOS. In 2 hours or less per video, you can learn dozens of powerful time-saving skills. Sometimes a single feature can save hundreds of hours of labor. We ship all orders the day we receive them. You'll get your tapes in 7 to 10 working days. For another $8, we'll rush your order for delivery in 3 working days. To order the advanced package, all 6 videos for just $149.50, just call this number, 1-800-999-3279. Order now.